All right, so we're actually heading out towards Wickenburg. We got a new whip, so we're gonna try it out, try and get to the Wickenburg Massacre site, see how that goes. Got some extra water in the trunk in case things go south. But we're gonna go check out the Wickenburg Massacre site. We may stop by the Hacienda if we have some time and just see what we got around there. Beautiful location, and then the Wickenburg Massacre site is very difficult to get to. Many historians have covered it, but I think we can get more. So let's go check it out. Get out there and revisit history. Heading towards the Stagecoach Massacre site. I think we're getting pretty close now. A lot of off-roading trails. Like I said, make sure you guys are all covered before you guys come out into this location. It's pretty difficult to reach and a little inhospitable to say the least as well. You can see by this a little bit of a ditch here. Off-roading. King of that dust up. You can see in the back. Ooh, big bump.
Rolling.
All right, so we're not quite there yet. The ultimate destination is going to have us about 5 miles off the beaten path, and I'm talking 5 miles of just straight trails, one-way trails. And you can see some of the bushes. We're getting real close, bouncing around a little bit. Whoa! Some of these bumps are pretty nice, but we're about halfway there, we'll say. Let's keep tuned in. All right, so we're out in a different area. We're about, I think now we're a little bit closer than halfway. You can see that this is a very washed out area, lots and lots of sand. You need kind of an off-terrain vehicle to get to the site. Lots of sharp tall rocks, lots of steep drop-offs that kind of go off at angles. You want to be real careful with your decisions out here. Oh, see, we just hit a tree. Like I said, the sand is kind of nice to play around in. Other than that, man, just make sure you're being careful. What the fuck? Blakey, look, video, get video. Look,
Oh God, what is
look,
that?
look.
I can't see.
That's a fucking cow. We're about a mile from the location now. It's getting real close. You saw back there's a little bit green pasture kind of type deal. We're heading again back into more of a washy area, but we're getting close. It says we're about 3 minutes away. So it looks like this site's going to happen. The site visit is going to occur. You know, we've always wanted, just to get out here and record this history, as it is important that it's recorded before it disappears. Now, this happened in the 1800s, so the fact that the gravesite still exists is a miracle in itself. There's a wash right there that might be the location, but we've taken this wash pretty far down, and I'm not seeing much of a massacre site as so much just an open wash. So we'll keep a lot of washes in the area, cow tracks. Just trying to find the monument now. Not entirely sure where that's at. I'll tell you, I'm just walking through this, and it is like beach sand. Like every step you just sink in. Anybody looking to join the Armed Forces and Special Force capacity, come around this kind of terrain. Get you a nice and ready. So focused on the map, I almost missed it. We made it. We made it here. This is it. Holy cow. Oh man. Oh wow. And it's been beautified since. Some of the things that I've seen. Wow. It's kind of hard to read. I'll get some photos. Got some money dropped in there as offerings. Maybe I'll check and see if I have anything on me. So William George Salmon, wounded, jumped out and ran. This saving Molly Shepard and William Kruger. The Indians swarmed to attack Salmon, scalping him, chin to nap, and otherwise mutilated him. This is where it happened. This is where it happened. The Stagecoach Massacre. Right here in this here wash. They were attacked by Native Americans. A lot of intertribal warfare going on. A lot of outer tribal warfare going on as well. But I am blessed to say I've made it here. We've got, who do we got the graves of here? Let's read the stones, because these are important. Peter Hamill was unhurt. Circumstances suggestive he met attackers head-on before being killed and scalped. All was mutilated. Frederick Loring and Charles Adams and driver John Lance were atop the stage. Adams received 2 wounds to the back. Loring received wounds to his head. Lance received wounds to his head and upper torso. Loring and Adams were wounded and unable to flee. They were murdered where they lay, scalped and mutilated. Salmon killed a tree. It's kind of hard to read. I guess this is where they're buried. This is more over there. I didn't even realize how big this place is. It's a lot of people. This is the Wickenburg Massacre. This kind of explains it all. On the spot in the morning of November 5th, 1871, a Concord stagecoach belonging to the Arizona stage lines was ambushed by a party of 15 attackers, most likely Yavapai Indians from the nearby Camp Date Creek Reservation. Dutch John Lance, the driver, Charles S. Adams, a member of the Prescott firm, Jewell and Co., Loring and Boston journalist documenting with the Wheeler expedition, William George Salmon, a surveyor with the Wheeler expedition, the Frederick Solholm, a Prescott merchant, were killed in the ambush. William Kruger, a civilian army clerk, Molly Shepard, a Prescott prostitute, were both seriously wounded but survived the massacre. Miss Shepard reportedly died from an infection resulting from her wounds, so we have another person that was taken from the massacre. This stagecoach was rumored to have carried treasure in form of a payroll, an army payroll, but this was very unlikely as the strong box was empty when they left Wickenburg. There was not a cavalry escort, and the payroll shipment would have been sent to California to Prescott, not the other way around. So, kind of some historical information. The real mystery of Wickenburg Massacre is the location of the victims' graves. The contemporary newspaper accounts report that 5 victims were taken from to town for an inquest, then buried the next day. Wow. It says, the graves at the site located by dowsing may indicate the contemporary newspaper accounts were falsified to assuage Eastern sensibilities or may represent clandestine reburials at the site when the graveyard was disturbed by pipeline projects in the mid-20th century. So pipelines coming through may have removed some of the remains. They may also be symbolic representations of the victims' graves, with the victims' remains still at Wickenburg Cemetery site or bulldozed into oblivion by the construction crew. Efforts are ongoing to conduct the archaeological exploration of the site to locate additional evidence and identify the perpetrators and the location of the victims. Google the Wickenburg Project for further information. So that's kind of a rundown of what happened, but let's get more into the stories of these individuals. It says, General Crook was assigned to the investigation of the Wickenburg Massacre by Philip Sheridan. With the President Grant, by the time investigation was completed, the general knew the guilty individuals by trade name and gave orders to round up all the guilty in their tribe. The Indians' time had come to an end. They were captured and placed on the reservation. So this is kind of a justification for the reservation in this particular circumstance. Now, this is their opinion, of course. And then, of course, we have a nice wooden cross up here. I don't know how much of this is very contemporary versus not contemporary, but it's all beautiful nonetheless. It looks like some of the, like I said, the grave sites we're not really sure much about. Oh wow, it just keeps expanding. This one doesn't have a ton of information. It's a spot for money and flowers, of course, as offerings. It says 9 Indians attacked the fleeing Molly Shepard and William Kruger, wounded 2 and caused them to retreat. He retrieved his pistol, wounded 2 of the natives, and caused them to retreat. So we see Molly Shepard and William Kruger actually firing back and trying to escape from the massacre. This is the top one up here that I can see. It says, after escaping the massacre, her and William Kruger split up. She went back to San Francisco North Beach area where her ship landed years earlier. William Kruger went on to St. Louis and wrote a letter back to Wickenburg. So we see a very, very kind of a sad end to a situation that killed many people, that is still mourned around Wickenburg today. And clearly you can see these sites are still very well maintained, irrespective of the fact that they're particularly hard to reach. It says approximately 35 Indians armed with repeating rifles lay hidden in the hillside. The Yavapai Indians left moccasin tracks there. Their moccasins were sewn to the upper part of the rawhide straps, giving a clear track as to the tribe. So it kind of gives them an idea who it was and how they know who it was. I'm going to go over there for a second, but I want to get a vantage point of maybe what the Native Americans were actually viewing as they looked down upon these people coming almost for miles up here, in every direction, including if you were to go further up this mountain, you'd be able to see the entire wash. So we're talking about up to 30 in Native Americans charging down this hill on an unsuspecting crew of stagecoach passengers and people trying to actually get to California, it sounds like. So, again, I don't know the history as well as I should, but I'll tell you, now that we're here, I'm going to sure get into it. So like I said, man, these things aren't easy to do a lot of times. You risk yourself, your car, your vehicle, your life to get out to these places. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Hit the like button, hit that bell. Like I said, you can see the sweat dripping off my forehead. It's a little bit of effort goes into this stuff. So please make sure you guys are on board with revisiting history as we continue these crazy journeys, man. It's going to get crazier and crazier as we go, as we get to more and more like restricted sites and places that are very, very difficult to get to. I'm proud we made it here today. This is a location I have had on my list for years. Since 2 years ago when revisiting history started, this place has been on my list. I got a few more spots over here to look at. I don't know why this has been decapitated. That's disgusting. Somebody's terrible human being. This is what terrible humans do. These people are massacred. Let's find a nice spot. I don't know. Give me a second. I'm going to figure this out. The one that I just had to touch and kind of mess around with says 3 horses wounded in the 4th from the 3 bullet wounds. 26 rounds were fired into the coach. Now, when I walked upon this, it was beheaded. It was defaced. It's disgusting to me. I took, the head was just laying in the dirt. I took it, and I tried to put it back on. There's no way to put it back on without any kind of fixing cement, so I placed it next to his body instead. This kind of desecration of grave sites is disgusting and immoral. This is kind of interesting looking here. Looks like another offering. I think maybe we should come back here on maybe Day of the Dead. I don't know. Maybe that's what all the ofrendas are for. It's for Day of the Dead. But these that one looks particularly old. That one looks particularly new. It's like a painted rock. Let's go over to this area. Oh, we got some actual snapshot information. This is pretty interesting because everything is hard to access, man. You would think there's not much out here. And these are, I think some of these may be the original contemporary, not original, or I think some of these may be original, but some of them do look contemporary as well. So who really knows? The site's kind of a mystery. I'm going to go ahead and grab one of these out because you can never have too many primary sources. But what is this? Looks like a whole bunch of information, primary sources. There's a pinup girl in there. We're not gonna take a look at that one. It says, oh wow, this is the I think this might be the actual primary sources. Give me some photos of these real quick. These particular primary sources are meant for reading, not for taking. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and be responsible historians and put them back into the box that we found them in because other historians may want to come read them someday. Now, I haven't seen this one yet either. The beautiful structures around it. It says Wickenburg Massacre, November 5th, 1871. So this is talking, we're talking even way prior to statehood. We're talking prior to the Santa Fe Railroad in most locations. But it says at 10 a.m., 4-horse Concord-style stagecoach Wickenburg to the Ehrenberg route. I have to look that up. Traveling 8 miles per hour, so they're moving pretty slow. Trying to get from Wickenburg to the Ehrenberg route. Now, let's walk around to the side. This one's damaged massively. This is coach driver John Lance, passengers Aaron Barnett, a Wickenburg businessman, dismounted the coach because he forgot something important and walked back to town. Molly Shepard, William Kruger, William George Salmon, Peter Hamill, Frederick Stockholm, atop the coach, Frederick Loring and Charles Adams' Molly's fur coat was used for a card game, but under the guns under the seats, so they did have guns, which was typical, right? I mean, you're out here driving through this kind of wash. I'm going to go down and give a perspective. I want to verify these are sites that I've covered. Oh man, I'm getting a little lightheaded. I want to make sure these are sites I've covered real fast before we start doing shots and stuff like that. So we wanted to jump out and ran. Yeah, this is the one where we did look at some of the scalpings and the terrible things. See if we can. All right, so this would have been the vantage point looking forward of the Wickenburg stagecoach, right? Coming through this sandy outlet, kind of stuck in a wash, 8 miles per hour. You can't go much faster. And then they have an ambush mountain right over there, the high spot. And not just that, you look around. It kind of forms into a valley, so you could see easily how I think it's blamed on the Yavapai, could have easily pulled this off. And again, it seems like it was no treasure involved, just a random attack, which then the documents I found said provoked the need of reservations, which I'm very, very split on personally, growing up right next to one. Let's get back here and revisit. We were here at the Wickenburg Massacre site, and from what it sounds like is that we had up to 30 Yavapai Indian Native Americans up top of this hill with about close to a dozen people within a stagecoach. Now, it was supposedly the rumors carrying treasure. Now, the thing is that it doesn't seem like it didn't have any treasure on it. Now, upon the attack, a lot of people were pretty quickly run down and scalped, with a lot of people taking some serious, basically being their bodies mutilated from some of the attacks that had occurred. Now, one gentleman was able to pull out a pistol and fire a couple shots, injuring 2 of the Native Americans. Now, that right there backed them off a little bit and allowed him and one person to escape off into Wickenburg to tell their story. But it truly is one amazing story to be told. And I'm happy to be here. I'm happy we made it. Wasn't an easy trip. One of the hardest ones I've done so far. And, I really do love this. All right, so this is the ofrenda I came upon that was decapitated that I had to fix. Or I tried my best to make it look more better than it had. Now, I'm going to go ahead and offer a $2 bill here for this particular one. For the people of the Wickenburg Massacre, for the people that were massacred, and the lives lost on that day. So, if you can get out here, check it out, the Wickenburg Massacre site. If not, then stay tuned. We'll be having a lot more history.